Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for sitting through the latest break. I hope you enjoyed that retailer. What are you doing? Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Our next panel is very exciting. Two people that really need no introduction, and so I'm not going to give them one. We have Jim Koch, of course, is the founder of the Boston Beer Company, and we have Sam Calagione as the founder of Dogfish Head, and they have joined forces. And gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Harry, thank you for putting this on. You know, it's kind of sucks because it's all technology, but thank you for bringing us all together. This has been, it's felt pretty good to just see other friends in the industry, and you got us together. So God love you.
Well, thank you, Jim.
And I just echoed to say, I was just going to say, even post-COVID, Harry, I really think you got to keep doing the laugh track. Just have someone with you at all times, and after every pause in your sentences, play in that laugh track. That's so you.
I think after everything that you and I say, and watch this. So other than that, the tech has been great.
Some late night.
We've had our glitches. Luckily, we'll fix these in post-production, I've been told. So if we break out, then we're going to have a lag. That's just, all right, so Jordan, I'm going to turn it over to you to see what you have for these guys.
Thank you, Harry. Hey, Jim. Hey, Sam. Thanks for being here. I'll just go ahead and jump in, and Jim, we'll start things off with you and talk about what else, but hard seltzer. Everyone's jumping on the lemonade train this year, and you have Truly Tea coming, and some of your competitors are already starting to roll with one of those as well. Why is it that everybody seems to follow Truly's lead on innovation in the seltzer space?
Well, it's obviously a very, very competitive industry. We've certainly got, great, talented people in this industry. We've seen them today. We're about to see another one after us. So you got to expect that if you've got something good, people are going to jump on it. And innovation has certainly been in the DNA of Boston Beer Company for 36 years, since we helped launch the whole craft beer revolution. We have continued to push boundaries, first of craft beer, then outside it into things like cider and hard tea, and now hard seltzer. And I think part of that DNA is one of the unique features of Boston Beer Company, in that it continues to be a founder-led, founder-driven company. Pretty much the people who spoke so far, with the exception of our friend from Geloso, they were all professional managers, and that's one set of skills. But I happen to believe that a founder-led company can drive innovation in a more successful way. But I keep hearing this word innovation, and it's sort of associated with this idea of these brilliant people and their little bubbles coming out of their head, and they sit there and they come out with this brilliant idea. And our innovation, frankly, has never been characterized by brilliant ideas. When I think of, I'll tell you the story of Truly, and the first hard seltzer that was released back at the end of February in 2016. And, we came up with this idea of a hard seltzer. There was something in the Boston area that was called spiked and sparkling water. It later got bought and it became Vizzy, but it was out there, and our innovations kind of come from, standing in front of a cooler, asking the retailer what's selling, seeing what's on the floor, sometimes asking customers. And this stuff was selling, but not getting that much traction. And it was like 6% alcohol and like 160 calories and like 6 or 8 grams of sugar. And I was with one of our salespeople, and was, this wants to be something different. What if we did a product that didn't have all that sugar? It was like, like LaCroix, like seltzer water, and it had 100 calories, and it was 5% alcohol, and it had 1 gram of sugar. And our idea was, the original thought was we were going to call it spa water, and it was going to sell to what we call white blouse women. So the idea of this was like a woman in an upper class suburb who just finished playing tennis, and instead of getting a vodka soda or a Chardonnay on the rocks, she would drink this hard seltzer. And we thought, this will sell 1 million cases. So that was, if you remember the very original launch, it was in glass bottles. It was sort of feminine. It had like all these little green leaves on it. It was very, high class. We launched it, and about a month or two later, I think it was in April, we had our distributor trip. And it's a big incentive trip for our best wholesalers. It's sort of legendary for the booze cruise part of it. It's down in the Virgin Islands, and we go to some of these classic, beach bars like the Soggy Dollar or the Willie T, where people jump off topless, or Foxy's. And we had our wholesalers there. And sitting in the back of the boat, there were 4 of our biggest wholesalers. And by biggest, I don't mean they sold the most product. I mean, they were the biggest. There was probably 1,200 pounds sitting on that bench spread out between 4 wholesalers. And they were drinking Truly. And I asked the server to count how many Trulies they had over, it was about a 6-7 hour period, and they drank 72, which worked out to 18 per wholesaler. And afterwards, and I was trying to keep up with them. I drank 10, and that was kind of my limit, because but I wanted to see like what it was like in the morning from drinking this. Was I going to get some kind of head full of vomit and bad decisions, or was it going to be a cleaner buzz? It was a clean buzz, and I asked the wholesalers, why did you drink this? And they basically said, well, it tastes great and it's less filling. And that's kind of when I realized we got this wrong. This is going to be drunk in quantities. It's not going to be 1 million cases. I don't know how big it's going to be, but it's going to be much bigger than I thought. So I guess this is all about saying 2 things. That one, when you think about innovation, you're looking for brilliant people. Well, I would say, don't underestimate the power of dumb luck. I mean, it's worked really well for me and Harry, so I highly recommend it. And second, it's kind of a simple enterprise. It's just a few basic things that sort of confirm that this is a simple business. Our principles are: make something that tastes really good that people want to drink, work your ass off to sell it, and partner with your wholesalers to, get the right route to market and get it on the shelves. And that's kind of the story of this innovation in hard seltzer, which is probably, the biggest thing, certainly in the beer business in this century, and maybe in all of alcohol. So, innovation as a child of brilliance is very overrated.
Yes, thank you for that colorful story, Jim. That was pretty funny. I did want to touch one last bit on Truly Tea.
I'm not naming any names.
I did want to touch one last bit on Truly Tea and just ask, why did it make the most sense for Boston Beer to line extend off of Truly when you have such a powerful hard tea brand in Twisted Tea? And was there any sort of consideration of giving Twisted Tea the hard seltzer tea?
And Jim, hey Jim, before you answer, if anyone has their Truly Twist Teas at home, this is where we play the drink along game, and it becomes a little less virtual and more visceral.
72 of them.
Yeah, this was Sam's idea to make this real drinking opportunity for all of us to drink together. Even though we can't all be in the same room, we can all lift a glass at the same time, though. I feel really badly because I had 3 of them to sample with you, and my 22-year-old daughter drank them all on Saturday night without telling me. So I guess it's a good thing. She drank 3 of them in one session. So, but I want you to have an opportunity to taste it. I think it'll help you and help me answer Justin's question, which we did think about making this a Truly product, but we really felt like this should be seltzer. It has the basic characteristics of Truly, and we very much believe that we want to keep our brands focused, and Truly is 100 calories and 5 ABV and 1 gram of sugar, and our position within, I think, seltzer is somebody who brings the flavor. We've amped up the flavor in seltzer products last year with what I think was the most successful innovation in hard seltzer, Truly Hard Lemonade, which, Justin, as you mentioned, now everybody's got a seltzer lemonade. And I guess after we announced the tea back in late July, we're going to have other people with their seltzer teas. We felt like the Twisted Tea drinker is somebody who they know they're getting some calories, and they're okay with the sugar. They're like the person who drinks Coke instead of Diet Coke. They want the flavor.
Oh, good.
Well, we're experiencing some difficulties again, but we'll be back up and running in no time.
I mean, fucking seriously. We can't get internet in this hotel? We spent
I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly.
This is not horrific, and you guys will fix it in post.
What?
Do we just want to go ahead and upload Nish and
Yeah. Yes. Do that. Yeah. Tell John Shea that nobody cares about Mike's Hard Lemonade anyway.
Of course he says that when he's on the line.
Yeah. How to do it, and I apologize, but it's been a total shit show all day, and I'm just.
Harry, I feel for you.
Yeah.
We've all been in your position.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I got to finish my first beer. So
I'm on my 3rd.
Yes.
I'm gonna have my next beer, and then we'll keep going.
Me too. Is the chat still up? Okay, do the email and the chat.
Oh, nice.
So anyway, I was still on a hot mic, and I thought I was off, and I was dropping F-bombs.
All right. Well, that was worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, everybody got to imagine your Sandy undercarriage.
Sandy undercarriage. Yeah, not many people got that joke. All right, so let's get back to business. Right, and here's Jen. She'll pop.
Hi, Jen.
I've already had COVID, but Jen thinks that I can still give it to her somehow. So, I was like, I have the antigens. You're fine. I have a I'm not. But she won't.
That's what I used to tell people too. I had syphilis, but I took penicillin.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't really want to get close to me before I had COVID. So you're right. All right. So let me point you over to Jordan because I forgot which question we were on. To be quite
We
honest,
were on the one about Truly.
I've been yelling at AV people like I'm some sort of asshole.
Hi, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan.
So I had just got done asking. Carrie's the only one that can hear right now, but I just got done asking about why Truly Twist or Truly hard tea instead of. But
yeah, because Twisted's a high sugar, high flavor, and Truly's more of a low-cal deal.
Yeah, it truly really fits the essence of hard seltzer.
Another hot segment in beer, which is
Hey,
But
Jordan, is there a chance we could segue? Is there a chance we could segue into non-alc by letting Jim talk about the launch because it's happening right now of the tea, and it's on an awesome trajectory, and I think our distributors and the other distributors would like to know how the launch is going. You guys tell us the most graceful way to go from that moment for Jim to the next question.
So Jim, tell us about that.
Okay.
Well, and I think our decision to bring out Truly hard seltzer tea versus putting it under Twisted was the right decision because we launched it just a few weeks ago. The initial results are almost stunning. It's outselling what the hard lemonade launch gave us by like 50%. One of our biggest retailers has put it in almost 3,000 stores in 2 or 3 weeks. For us, that's a really big deal. And they also told us it has the largest sales per point, the best velocity of any other item in hard seltzer. So I think it really fits. And what we're trying to do is kind of expand people's notion of hard seltzer, because it's always been kind of low flavor, but low calorie, health and wellness. And there hasn't really been that much, in this sort of empty quadrant of health and wellness, low calories, but high flavor. If you want high flavor, you went with high sugar, like Twisted Tea or Mike's, etc. Well,
we call that the Jim Cook matrix, and I've drawn it several times and put it up on slides, and I do give you credit for it, but it is brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's I would have thought you might have called it like the Jen Litz matrix. So I'm honored.
She's already got enough credit.
All right. And it's been an empty space, and so that's a space that we felt
These are for Harry.
That's the closest you've gotten to him in over a year.
I know.
It's coworkers who have nothing but respect for each other. It's a wonderful thing to see teamwork. Yeah. So far so good with Truly hard iced tea.
Okay. And Jim, let me ask this: can another hot segment in beer, non-alc, can it fit into that flavor matrix? How does non-alc fit?
Well, non-alc is for us, a really fun project. Because for 35 years, people have asked me, well, why don't you make a Sam Adams non-alcoholic? I've used up my quota. I can't drink alcohol anymore, or I want something to kind of pace with. And we always said, because non-alcoholic beers taste like shit. And that wasn't quite true, but none of them really met our Sam Adams standard of what a Sam Adams beer should taste like. Well, over the last few years, I think there have been some innovations in terms of equipment and yeast and some flavor technology that today allows you to make a great beer that happens to be non-alcoholic. And that was our criterion with Sam Adams, Just the Haze. We wanted it in blind consumer testing to rank as high or higher as the best hazy IPAs out there. And it took us 2 years for this whole project, but we finally got to the point where we can put into blind consumer testing Sam Adams Just the Haze, non-alcoholic, with some of the best hazy IPAs, and actually have consumers rate it higher. And out of that, we actually learned some things about, hazy IPAs and how to amp up the flavor in them. And that enabled us to go back to New England IPA and amp up that flavor, amp up the juiciness in there, all those fruit notes. And that's the second beer that you have to taste. And oh shit, my beer went flat while we were waiting. But now I can share this one with you. And it's a big, juicy IPA with a lot of those tropical notes, some mango, but it's also got the grapefruit and pine that you expect from a good IPA. And in some ways, this is an example of the nature of craft brewing and the essence of craft brewing, because this is an IPA. Well, 20 years ago, nobody would have accepted this as an IPA. And what to me has been very exciting about being a craft brewer is the level of creativity and innovation and just relentless pursuit of new, cool things. And, for us at Boston Beer Company, I always remind people, beer is our middle name. Beer is the heart of our passion for brewing and for creativity. And our community is other craft brewers. That's where we belong. Luckily, a couple of years ago, the Brewers Association, with a lot of foresight, saw where our community was going, and that it was impossible to put bounds on the creativity and innovation of craft brewers. And they opened up the definition that then allowed people not to feel these sort of constraints and strictures that over the years had kind of prevented craft brewers from being so innovative. Now, craft brewers are making things beyond traditional beer, whether they're ciders or seltzers or kombuchas or all kinds of very innovative fermentation products. So I think, that has unleashed the creativity of craft brewers and kept us all together as a community. And we have evidence of that just in the last, few weeks of how, as a community of craft brewers that sticks together and is inclusive, we've accomplished amazing things. We got permanent the KBMTRA, the Craft Beverage Modernization Act, which was the first time alcoholic beverage industry taxes have been reduced across the board since the Civil War. And that was initiated and driven by the craft brewing community in the United States. And the second was franchise law reform agreed to with our wholesaler partners in Massachusetts. So it's final proof that, as Sam says, together we are heavy. And I believe the craft brewers will continue to drive innovation in more and more interesting ways that will do what hard seltzer has done, which is bring new people into alcoholic beverages and bring them in a way that is advantage to the beer industry. Because something like hard seltzer, tough for the wine guys to compete, tough for the hard liquor guys to compete. It's right in the sweet spot of what we do well in the beer industry. We get it on the shelves. It's made in a brewery. It's sold through a beer wholesaler. It's driven by innovation and creativity. And it's in the cold box where we live and breathe. So cheers.
That's a good point, Jim. Yeah, cheers. And
That sounds empty.
Oh, you jumped the gun, Harry. You got the Hazy O. All right. I like somebody who's ahead of me.
So anyway, well, that's a good point. And one of the things that you've always said is that if it's made in a brewery and it goes through a beer wholesaler, it's the beer, and it really has. I mean, thank goodness, right, for seltzers.
Well, yeah. Imagine where our
what
industry would be without craft breweries and without seltzer. It would suck. The wine and the liquor guys would be eating our lunch.
Right. I mean, and there'd be a lot of boats and planes, and they'd be grounded. But what about we're seeing a lot of RTDs coming out that are spirit based. Nobody can really answer my question, because I ask spirits people, I ask a lot of people, do those go through wine and spirits houses, or do they go through beer houses? Because if I had a spirits based RTD, I would go through a beer house, because I'd want that deep distribution. And a lot of them, most distributors now have a spirits license, so it's not.
Yeah.
It used to be kind of prohibitive, but now it's not. But imagine if you're a Diageo or Pernod, and you have a spirits division and a beer division, and the spirits guys are like, you got to give that to us. You got to give it to us.
That's right.
And so, do you see a lot of competition from those guys going forward?
Well, we are 100% committed to our beer wholesalers for spirits based. I'm going to hand this over to Sam, who's been a distiller for 20 years. And I think, he's been on both sides of it, and he can probably give us a really good answer about where do you want to be if you have a high quality, ready to drink cocktail.
All right.
Yeah. So I'll say that I started my morning by reading your guys' 2021 predictions. I think I told you, I think you guys will be like from my view, you're like 86% right.
I noticed the 86. Like, why not 85?
I think
what is the 1% that took you over 85?
Well, it was actually what you guys talked about with the canned cocktail trend. You mentioned that trend, and you mentioned, High Noon, and you mentioned Cutwater, and those are two great brands. But that category is up over 60% last year, and I think it's going to continue to accelerate. And as Jim said, our commitment to our wholesaler network stays, whether it's our non-alc products or our spirits-based R2Ds. I don't know if you guys, are you getting an echo at all?
What I'm getting is Jim Cook watching TV while we're conducting an interview. I don't know what could be more fascinating than
Harry.
Yeah,
I had to come in through my iPhone. So
oh my gosh! If you're on the radio, you don't listen to the radio. I mean,
and this is a guy who's been on the radio for 35 years.
Trust me, I know. I know. We all know about his radio experience.
All right, so is there no echo now?
We don't need to bring that up.
Yeah, I shut everything down but the iPhone.
Okay. All right, should I answer?
Yes, go ahead.
We'll fix it in post. So like I said,
We'll do it live.
I started my day, as I always do, with a cup of coffee and your wonderful reporting. And you guys this morning did your 2021 predictions, and I do think 86% of what you said will ring true this year. And I especially noted you guys are super bullish on the canned cocktail category, and we are certainly aligned with your view on that. It grew over 62% last year, and we think it'll grow at least that strong in 2021. When you look at the convenience and the quality And for Dogfish, we've been distilling for 2 decades. We were really a second generation craft brewery, but we were truly a first generation craft distillery. And we've been making cocktails on our properties for all 20 of those years, essentially doing our R&D. Our cocktail program got a James Beard nomination. And so we finally feel like we perfected our recipes, and we're marching towards launching coast to coast in about a month with our canned cocktails. We sent out our first little trials of them to the biggest spirits competitions in the country. And our Blueberry Shrub vodka soda just won Best of Show at the LA Spirits competition. So we know the proof is in the pudding in terms of the quality of the liquid itself. And so we're marching that out in the coming month.
And I assuming you're going to go through beer wholesalers with these products, or
Yeah,
same network.
we are, and and certainly we're working in harmony with our distribution partners, because there's certain nuances to the spirits regulations, as you know, with different states. That's a little different than our experience just in the beer side, but we're really encouraged by how well that process is going as we march towards this launch.
That's awesome. And Jim, I do think you still have some device loss. This has been such a freaking disaster today that nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. And
Be vigilant. How can you tell? How can you tell where the echo is coming from? It's like that old horror movie. The call's coming from inside your house.
Because whoever's talking gets the square around them, right?
Yeah.
And then it just goes to Jim because there's an echo coming from.
Is this any better? I turned off the whole sound. I was originally through a computer, and that crashed, and I couldn't get back in. So now I'm on my iPhone.
I think that is better.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Right.
I mean,
My pleasure.
Listen, it's par for the course today. Don't worry about it. We're going to pull this together with string and duct tape and bubble gum, and this is going to be the best fucking summit we've ever had in the 18 years we've been doing it. I promise you.
I like the way you're thinking. I agree.
And Harry, if you want us to just do like videos of these answers, tomorrow or whatever, let us know. Seriously.
Well, I appreciate it, but can we push through the questions we have, and then we'll see in post-production. But thank you for being so patient. And so go
We've
ahead.
all been
Jordan, why don't you
by
go?
technology.
I know.
You're not special.
No, I started with a Big Chief tablet, a number 2 pencil, and I wish I had it back. So. All right, Jordan's got some.
Jordan, you're up. I hope you're having a drink, Jordan. I hope you're enjoying a drink while we do this.
Yeah, these are turning empty real fast.
Respect.
We also have a Sunday.
Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about that later. Go ahead, Jordan. What do you got?
Okay. Let's talk about the on-premise a little bit. Both Dogfish and Boston Beer. I'm curious to know what kind of prospects you'll see in that channel this year. Can you hear me all right, Sam?
You're a little vague, but I think you're asking about where on-premise will be going this year from our view of that. Obviously, no one knows for sure. Is that the question? Yeah. Yes. So I'll maybe start, and then Jim, if you could chime in as well. Obviously we started with a little tiny half-barrel brewery in the corner of a restaurant. I've been a restaurateur since the day I was a brewer, so it's very dear to my heart, and my heart goes out to the challenges that on-premise have experienced. But our conversations with our retailer, partners have been very robust, as you guys know, between the Restaurant Strong work that we've done, and with Dogfish converting our distillery to make hand sanitizer and giving those profits to hospitality workers. It's really allowed us to have very intimate conversations as we march towards what's hopefully a little light at the end of the tunnel here as we head into warmer months this year. And so as we look at our opportunities on-prem, our brands at Boston Beer that were hit the hardest, that over-indexed on-premise, would be, Sam Adams, Dogfish, and Angry Orchard. And so we were obviously recognizing that as on-prem comes back up, we can't throw too many SKUs at our on-prem partners. So we're the baby steps that we're taking from the Dogfish brand side, and I'll let Jim talk a little bit about our other brands after that, is we believe in the Dogfish portfolio. We have the right IPA for the right account for every account, whether you're looking for a traditional, well-filtered West Coast style IPA that has a unique point of differentiation, like 60-minute continual hopping, or you're looking for a low-cal opportunity, the number one low-cal IPA in America with Slightly Mighty, or you're looking for a hazy IPA, and then we've got Hazy O. So we have the right IPA for the right account, regardless of what they're looking for. And then on a package front, we want to see this iconic green can of the best number one sour beer in America in every on-premise account, especially knowing that as state laws evolve, there's going to be a lot of takeout beer leaving on-premise locations. And why not take home a beer that was designed on a molecular level to be the most refreshing beer that Dogfish Head's ever made? So knowing this is a challenging moment, those are really Dogfish Head's focus brands for 2021 on premise. Our IPAs, our goal is to get one on draft in every account that sells good beer, and Sequench in the sour side. And I'll let Jim talk about the rest of our portfolio and the on-premise horizon.
Yeah, for the rest of the portfolio, on-premise is a huge focus for us. Obviously, in this COVID time, we lost tons of draft volume and tons of on-premise volume for Sam Adams and for Angry Orchard. And it was kind of unfortunate because right before COVID hit, we'd added 75 more salespeople to focus on-premise. And we've always, been big believers in the power of just selling. I can't say we've been great marketers, but we've always believed in, the power of what distributors do, which is, go to the retailer and make the call and ask for the order. And so as soon as, things get back up and running, hopefully before the summer, we at Boston Beer Company, one of our focuses is going to be get a Sam Adams draft line and an Angry Orchard draft line. We have by far the number one hard cider with Angry Orchard and the leading craft brewer with Sam Adams. And, again, we sell lots of Truly, we sell lots of Twisted Tea, but near and dear to my heart and to everybody at Boston Beer Company is that perfect pint of Sam Adams poured by a bartender who cares about giving a great glass of beer to their customers. And we want to be a part of that.
So Jim, do you still have those 75 on-premise people on?
Yes. We've been very fortunate. Obviously, the success that we had this year. I mean, we're gonna, grow whatever, a big number, and that, and luckily, all of our brewers, everybody in our breweries showed up, came to work, and delivered on the production side of it. That enabled us to keep everybody. And in fact, during these COVID times, we've actually been hiring. So we've hired people who haven't been really able to go out into the market for 6 or 7 months. But we believe very, very strongly in how important it is to go out and sell. And that's how we built the company. So yeah, we've got over 500 salespeople. Just all they want to do is go out and sell into bars and restaurants and work with wholesalers. So as soon as this COVID shit show passes, we're gonna unleash the what I think is the best sales force in the beer business.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. I'm not just saying that, but that's what I constantly hear, that refrain. I hear Boston Beer has the best sales force on the street than any other company, particularly their size per barrel. And there's a lot of comparisons to Gallo, for instance, which also trains their people very well and has a very effective sales force out there. So that's the hard
Well,
thing.
I'll tell you a story. You can cut it out of the thing or not. But when the company was like 6 people, I realized how important selling was. And so I actually got from a wholesaler a copy of the Gallo sales manual. And so I took it. It was like 150 pages. It took me 3 days. I went through it. I rewrote it so that it wouldn't look like I plagiarized it. And you remember my partner, Rhonda. Rhonda could actually type 130 words a minute. Rhonda retyped that whole thing. And that was our first sales manual. And it was built on, a tip of the hat and deference to Gallo. We wanted to have the best. We wanted to be the Gallo of the beer business. And we didn't care what it cost us, but we were going to build our business the way a distributor does, which is, bar by bar. And it worked.
Right. Well, I mean, when I first started Beer Business Daily and launched the website and everything 20 years ago, I took the Wall Street Journal's privacy policy and just copy and pasted it into ours, and it just changed Wall Street Dow Jones to Beer Business.
I love it. Yeah.
Even Shakespeare plagiarized a little bit from what I've read.
Well, that's right. You're just building on what's come before. As we all stand on the shoulders of giants.
That's right. That's right. All right, so Jordan, let's take us forward.
We'll just keep moving right along. So
there's no time constraints now.
I know.
We can go on all
no
day.
Beer constraints either. I'm on beer number 3. I think I can go to 4.
Yeah. So this is another one for both y'all. Has the distributor alignment of Dogfish Head and the Boston Beer Network paid off the way y'all thought it would so far?
Yeah, the answer is yes, and Sam will explain it.
Yeah, full candor, it's taken us longer than we thought it would pre-merger, but it's been awesome to watch our distributor partners, both the legacy Dogfish distributors and the BBC network, work with us in recognition that this is not just best for BBC, but it's best for our industry per market to get that alignment done. We've made massive strides. We're now over 80% aligned in our network. So it took us longer than it did. And frankly, that did create challenges like headwinds for Dogfish Head's, growth, that brand of ours in 2020. But now that we're over 80, we're already starting to feel, especially that it happened before the end of the year, so that when we're doing our annual planning, it's now all synchronized and in harmony in one network. It's really, really notable. So, recent successes in Virginia and Tennessee and Maine are substantial markets for us and are going to really give us great momentum as we head into the busy season of 2021. So I'm super excited about where we're going with that.
Yeah, I think it's been a reasonably good experience for Sam and me, because we relied on kind of the good sense and common decency of our wholesaler network. And I would say in the vast majority of the cases, we've, that respect has been rewarded. We've learned you got to be patient. You can't jam people. But at the end of the day, most distributors are willing to do the right thing.
Right. But you've built that goodwill, over 35 years or whatever it is. And that's certainly helps. It helps to, I guess, not be an asshole. And, hopefully I can rely on some goodwill when people see the shit show of this conference.
We all love you, Harry. As I've told you many
Jim.
times, we all love you because you're just like us. As successful as you've been, you're just another human soul wandering through a path of many windings.
That's right.
I think the
That's
best
right.
moment today, I didn't get to hear it, but Dave Berwick, our CEO, told it to us, and you can edit this out too. It's that he said, Harry's got a hot mic. He doesn't know it, but he just said what he spent on the conference. And I was like, that's fucking brilliant, because if anyone asks for their money back, what kind of asshole knows what you guys spent on this and then asks for their money back, you know?
Well, it is funny because I did hear they're like, Harry, you're on a hot mic, and I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's why we love you.
Easy up here.
All right, so
Okay, so craft. Let's say they jumped the shark a bit in 2020, and everyone started making seltzer. There's some breweries that are going all in on Mexican lagers now.
Yep.
And you know, has craft sort of lost its soul, or maybe its glue as a unified segment?
So I would say, Jordan, emphatically no. Obviously, when so many of the thousands and thousands of indie craft breweries across America, you know, our brew pubs and our tasting room breweries, we were disproportionately hit as a community by the reality of COVID, just like any other restaurant would be, which is where the rules mostly applied at a state level for so many of the indie craft breweries in America. But as we saw that moment shift to off premise, our larger members benefited to that in terms of the indie craft community to a large degree. So our overall numbers, as Bart said in his little phone call with Harry this morning, you know, the sky is not falling. But, you know, I think we got to be very realistic that 15, 20 years ago, a just turning of age drinker, you know, was, you know, craft was an exciting new thing in that moment. And now there are other new things in the moment, whether it's, you know, a seltzer or where you guys are sitting, a ranch water or whatever. So it's up to us as a community to make sure our innovations and how dynamic and exciting we are resonates with younger drinkers today to the degree it did when Jim started Sam Adams and we started Dogfish. But we have awesome signs of hopes as we go back to the new normal. Like, you know, Dogfish has been a long time sponsor of the Extreme Beer Fest. And even though they had to pivot and go virtual, they sold that out for this year. Our friends, Todd Ahlstrom and that group, and we're sending 3,000 packages of exotic, you know, extreme beers across the country through the 3-tier system to the people who signed up for that. But two other, you know, moments that I think I'm really excited about moving forward is, you know, looking at, you know, Jim mentioned the alignment of our industry that led to the permanent excise tax reduction. You know, similarly, the BI, the Brewers Association, MBWA all came together on the beer growth initiative, recognizing that we got to do a better job of marketing to younger drinkers to make sure beer is relevant. Boston Beer doubled down on our investment in that this year, and we're going to be starting to produce beer and food films, short films that will air through that platform this year. And even within our own company, as Jim said, beer's our middle name. That's not changing anytime soon. And we have an internal program called Beer in Mind that is reminding all of our coworkers as we sell everything we do across our portfolio of how critical, you know, innovating and leading on the beer front is for our company. So we are 100% invested. This is also the moment in the questions where we invite people to drink. Boom, boom, boom. This is our Sunday Feel. So as I mentioned, we're proud that Dogfish produces the #1 selling sour beer in America in Sequench. This is a sour that, and it was cool listening to what Jason said in your earlier panel about the first thing that matters is what's the quality of the liquid. And so starting with this, it's a beer, but it really is a beer designed to entice cocktail drinkers to come to craft beer. So it's basically designed off of your quintessential brunch cocktails. It has blood orange juice in it, like you'd get at a mimosa. It's got Viognier grapes in it, the way you get with a Bellini. But it is a sour beer designed to go with food. And it's a $14.99 price point 6-pack. So as we come out of COVID, as we move beyond the pantry loading moment when people are like buying beer instead of shopping for beer. That's an awesome opportunity for beer distributors to say, let's spend a little more time on education about our portfolio to help people trade up. Because yes, there's going to be economic pressure in America, but beer, even at $14.99, is going to be an awesome, affordable luxury. So let's take this moment to do a little bit more hand selling to remind people that there's amazing beers up above that sort of $9.99 price point, like 90 Minute and like this, and certainly like Utopias on the highest end.
Okay, I'm gonna let Jen.
Go, Jen. Oh, why'd you choose to take your mask off? Why are you taking your mask off now? What was the difference in the moment?
Because I have mine on.
All right.
The fact that
What
I'm
about
willing to
Jordan? Is he not?
George bolted.
Jim, I hope
All
you're
right.
not contagious. I was gonna say the fact that I am this close to these two schools now and not wearing masks is a testament to how much I want to speak to you two, how much I love you two and your brand.
Challenges bring people closer together. If America has learned anything, challenges bring us closer together.
Metaphorically, not necessarily literally.
Yeah, I don't know that that's true, but yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Right, yeah. You see the spot tonight, but no, thank you guys for rolling with it. And I've been covering craft for a long time. You both your brands were some of the first craft beers I drank. So I gotta ask you some OG questions, right? Sam, when was the last time you took that red truck out for a spin? And Jim, could you still lead an outward bound class?
Yes, I still own that 1970 pickup truck, and my pickup truck is the same age as my wife. There's probably a country song in that lyric somewhere. But we've got a little bit newer and a little more efficient pickup truck, and Mariah and I are hitting the road in a month, Jen. And actually, we're going to do the entire East Coast in our pickup truck, COVID willing, in April. And we're launching a national program for Dogfish, our biggest national marketing program in the history of our company, called Mother Nature Let's Do This. Kind of reading the tea leaves. We're hopeful with the vaccine. Jim and I were talking about this on the phone yesterday, that May, June should be kind of the moment where people are like confident to be going out and being outside and socializing and drinking, hopefully while they're outside. And we're like, all right, let's build our entire 2020 big moment around that idea. We're an outdoorsy brand, nautical themed. And so Mariah and I are going from the coral beds off of Key West all the way up to Dogfish Head, Maine, between April and May in our pickup truck. And we're launching this program called Mother Nature Let's Do This in a partnership with the Nature Conservancy, which is America's biggest environmental nonprofit. So Dogfish has been raising money through our active lifestyle events like our Dogfish Dash road race for over a decade. And we just went over $1 million that we've donated to our local chapter. And to celebrate that, we're going out to learn from from the Nature Conservancy leaders in each state, what they're doing in each state, the good work they're doing from protecting the coral beds to bringing back the oyster culture off of Long Island. And we're going to capture that content, share it with our over 3 million plus combined followers. And hopefully that'll create excitement for our brand. And Dogfish's biggest sort of focus month for the BBC sales force is July. So it's all timed so that we can bring that attention to our brand in a way that we know is very authentic, because we've been invested in this cause with this partner for over a decade, and bring that to life. So that's something we're really, really excited about. Mariah and I definitely have COVID cabin fever, and we're excited to hit the road with that. Oh, and I should say we'll be visiting our key distributors every step of the way. So obviously Dogfish had sales over index up and down the East Coast. So we're working with our sales leaders to make sure we can check in with our key distributors or just different distributors as we make our way up the coast.
And you need a place to, rest and maybe go to the bathroom.
Yes, we do. Yes, we might. I might stay on Dominic Origlio's floor when I get to Philadelphia.
I can think of worse floors to sit on.
Oh, you got the Patagonia hat. That's right. I should have mentioned, it's not just us and TNC. We're doing stuff with our friends at Patagonia, who we've had a relationship for over a decade. We designed a cool custom bike with Priority Bike. So yeah, we got lots of partners on this road trip, and it's going to be pretty cool. That looks good on you, Harry.
I love that.
He doesn't need any more praise.
I don't. I actually do right now.
And
On to you, Jim.
to answer your question,
Yeah.
I think so. The last time I really spent a lot of time in a kind of outward bound environment was like 3 years ago, because my youngest daughter said, "Dad, I've seen pictures of Kilimanjaro. I think it'd be really cool to climb that. Will you take me?" And so my daughter and I climbed Kilimanjaro together. And I was sort of sucking wind a little bit around 18,000 feet, but it was great. It was a wonderful experience. So I think, maybe I could still bring a little. And I love Harry's hat, because one of my roommates at Outward Bound was the guy who lent Yvonne Chenard the money to start Great Pacific Ironworks, which became Patagonia. Great company. We're really proud to partner with them. And I have some of the original Lost Arrow pitons that Chenard made a long time ago, more than 50 years ago.
Wow. Well, that's certainly worthy of a beer, and I admire that company.
What
as well.
isn't?
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Come on.
Way too long.
Yeah. So, all right.
That's
Do we
why
have
we're
any
so
last
lucky
minute
to be
questions?
doing what
or-
we're doing.
That's right. No,
Yeah, we have some questions from the audience.
we have some questions
So,
from the audience.
oh wait,
We have
let's
our
do it.
feedback.
actually, all the AV people have left the room. I think they've heard my wrath and they're scared of me somehow. Or something. But can
We're
you
all out
imagine
getting
anybody-
legal representation.
I know. Can you imagine anybody being scared of me?
Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, I tipped him first, but I'm just kidding, guys. It's not your fault. Yeah.
You're awesome. Clearly, you're successful because of how you roll with it, right? There's good times and there's bad, and
Yeah.
bad times,
So, well, good. Well, we'll have the edit, have this up, and within 48 hours, we're going through and re-editing so that the audio and the gaps and all of that. So hopefully there'll be a full spectrum of because this is the most infuriating thing about this whole thing, guys, is that we have the best lineup of speakers that we've ever had in 18 years.
You did. You had somebody from everybody that mattered.
Yes, and like when we kept cutting out of the we kept cutting out of the Walmart and the Whole Foods. I was like, well, luckily those two retailers don't matter. So
maybe to you, they sure
I know,
don't matter
nobody-
to us.
no, I know that's the joke, and yeah, they didn't even laugh. It's not funny. This whole thing is not funny. But all right, well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, and
And
hey,
I appreciate
hey,
you.
I know I speak for Jim when I say, as you guys are editing this, if there's things that you missed that you want to get from us, we will we'll shoot short stuff on our iPhones with the helps of our better halves to get anything that you missed.
Yeah.
Well,
or
thank you
whatever
so
you
much
want.
for that.
We are
All right.
shouldering the Atlas-like burden of making you look good. We will carry that weight.
It's a heavy weight,
That
Jim.
is
It
the
is.
toughest job. Trust me, Jay.
I'm not coughing because of COVID.
It's my full-time job.
Oh, by the way, Kilimanjaro, I can't even walk up a flight of steps here without sitting down to take a breather. So, well, thank you guys so much, and
All right, guys.
I appreciate it, and I know everybody appreciates the beer you sent, Sam, and what a great show. So, thanks, guys, and we'll be in touch.
It was great.
All right, guys.
All right.
We love you, Harry.
Much
Yeah,
love,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
All
Love you
three
too.
of you, Jordan, Jen, Harry. Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
All
I
right,
fucked up
cheers.
your name and called you Justin. But I'll get
That's all right.
I'll get
He's used to it. He's used to
All
it.
right.
Don't worry.
All right,
man.
later, guys.
God bless.
Later.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard the first two parts of our interviews with Jim Koch and Sam Calagione, and it's been just disjointed because of technical issues. And we cut it short, and then we really didn't get through some of the meat of it, which was the innovations that particularly Dogfish have produced. And many of you took advantage of the fact that they shipped that beer to you just by being a registrant at this conference. So please continue watching, and we'll kind of wrap this up with string, bubblegum, wire, whatever. That's what we do now.
Definitely two themes that came up in every presentation at this conference have been seltzers and the better for you space. And you guys asked, how's Dogfish had been successful in the better for you space with things like Slightly Mighty and Sequence. And I'd say that it starts with not focusing on the better for you components of the recipe, but just focusing on making an awesome, highly drinkable liquid, starting with a style that's on trend or even ahead of trend. And then with Dogfish Head's 25-year history of infusing our recipes with culinary ingredients. In the early days, it was more just local and fresh culinary ingredients, but then being focused in that space allowed us to see as trends move from sort of the locavore language to the better for you language. We were well positioned with our R&D to react to that, starting about a decade ago with Namaste, our yoga-themed white beer, and then half a decade ago with Sequence Ale, which was the best-selling sour beer in America in 2020, made with sea salt and limes and designed to be the most refreshing beer we've ever brewed at a molecular level. And then, of course, Slightly Mighty. It's basically designed to taste like a full-flavored IPA, but be slight in calories, mighty in hop character from the monk fruit that we add. And then we're really proud of our sort of latest innovation that we sent a bunch of you guys to try. And it really is unique in that it sits in that sweet spot between the hazy IPA trend, which is the fastest growing beer style in America, and the better for you trend. So Hazy O, as you can kind of see by the label, there's 4 concentric circles of O's. That means there's 4 formats of oats: malted oats, toasted oats, rolled oats, and oat milk is really the piece de resistance. So it'll be the first nationally distributed oat milk infused hazy IPA. And hazies are, as I said, the fastest growing beer style in America, up about 100% in 2020. Seltzers, we know, grew about 200% in 2020. Oat milk, however, in the CPG category grew 215%. So we really do think we're onto something here, and the oat milk gives Hazy O a really unique silky mouthfeel that makes it drink like a 5 ABV session IPA, even though it's a 7 ABV behemoth. So we start shipping Hazy O coast to coast this week, and we're really excited that it's coming at you.